With the WINN FM News, I am Kevin Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Our top stories.
Lux Carnival unveils costumes inspired by the blossoms of varying nations. Seniors complete 6-week chronic disease self-management program.
Police seize narcotics and illegal firearms in Lower Monkey Hill, St. Kitts. Sleep, the unsung hero of health in a hustle culture. CXC to launch Caribbean Targeted Education Certificate, CTEC. Women and supporters protest MP's controversial remarks outside St. Lucia's Parliament. Internationally, 79 people die in Herat bus crash involving Afghans deported from Iran. Now, the details.
One of St. Kitts' leading carnival troupes, Lux Carnival, officially launched its costumes for Sugar Mass 54. Eager supporters and revelers hugged Lux Carnival's Facebook page to get a glimpse of what the troupe would bring to the streets on January 1, 2026. The presentation featured models showcasing elaborate designs inspired by the theme Garden of Nations, a floral tapestry. From vibrant feathers to floral motifs, each design draws inspiration from blossoms synonymous with varying countries. Lux introduced the costume Strelitzia, bird of paradise, as a proud symbol of South Africa's natural splendor. Known also as the crane flower, its bold orange and blue blossoms unfurl like a tropical bird in flight. Strelitzia mirrors the essence of South Africa itself, vibrant, diverse, and enduring. Its radiant bloom is seen as a sign of freedom and resilience, a fitting tribute to a nation that thrives in both strength and beauty. The jade vine from the Philippines was transformed into wearable art. Lux said, it claims a forest canopy with bold, jewel-toned flowers that demand both attention and admiration. Admired for its striking turquoise blooms, the vine symbolizes extraordinary allure and rare elegance, making it a perfect tribute to moments that celebrate uniqueness and wonder. Born in the lush rainforests of the Philippines, it captivates all who encounter it, a living treasure of surreal beauty. The grand reveal also paid a tribute to the sakura cherry blossom from Japan. Quote, across Japan's springtime skies, sakura spills soft pink and white petals like drifting silk, a fleeting celebration of life and renewal, Lux noted. Additionally, Lux Carnival received an enthusiastic response to the reveal of Royal Poinciana, with many praising the originality and boldness of the design. Spectators were particularly impressed by the attention to detail, with the floral arrangements depicting the national flower of St. Kitts and Nevis. Several individuals commented that the costume is beautiful and is on fire. Speaking about the costume, Lux said, quote, its fiery red and orange blossoms symbolize vibrancy, strength, and resilience, mirroring the energy and spirit of the Kittitian people, unquote. Also introduced for the first time was the Lux Carnival men's bacchanal wear, accompanied by the Lux Carnival Femi bacchanal wear. Lux said they were, quote, billed for the kings of the road and the queens who refused to blend in. This garden-inspired bacchanal wear bursts with bold energy, vibrant color, and effortless movement. Whether you're repping with your crew or vibing with your boo, the road is yours. No holding back, no slowing down, unquote. Purple Rain and Solar Rush also formed a part of Lux Carnival's costume reveal, each capturing both elegance and energy, while still allowing comfort for revelers during the long hours of parading. Each year, troop leaders aim to ensure that their costumes stand out during the Grand Parade, are elaborate in structure, tailored for comfort, and enable participants to parade for hours with ease. Inclusivity continues to be a priority, with troops offering variations to suit different sizes and preferences, while maintaining the theme's visual impact. The Grand Parade of Troops for Sugar Mass 54 was scheduled for January 1, 2026, whilst last lap was slated for January 2, 2026. A group of seniors from the Sandy Point and the Tabernacle communities graduated from a 6-week chronic disease self-management program aimed at improving their health and quality of life. The program provided participants with tools and strategies to better manage conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, and heart disease. Ms. Vera Edwards-France and Ms. Novelia Rollins-Wusu of the Ministry of Health facilitated the sessions. During the sessions, seniors engaged in interactive workshops covering topics such as healthy eating, physical activity, fatigue management, medication management, anger management, and stress reduction. Facilitators encouraged the seniors to set achievable goals, build self-confidence, and create supportive networks to help them take control of their health. A senior who has had a long battle with diabetes told WINN FM that the program was not only educational, but also empowering, and that she feels more capable of managing her condition day to day. She also highlighted that the program encouraged her to adopt healthier habits. An officer in the Department of Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disabilities told WINN FM that a similar graduation for seniors in the Otley's Lodge community was scheduled for August 27, 2025. She added that the department plans to expand future sessions to reach seniors in other communities across the island later in the year. The initiative reflects a growing commitment to preventative care and chronic disease management as part of improving public health outcomes.
The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is investigating drug and weapon contraband that were recovered in the Lower Monkey Hill area of St. Peter's, St. Kitts. During a routine search of a vacant lot conducted by the Anti-Narcotics Unit on August 15, 2025, the officers recovered one 9mm pistol with 5 matching rounds of ammunition and 1 kilogram of cocaine. No one has been arrested or held accountable for the items. More on this as information becomes available. The police is appealing to anyone who may have information on this find to contact their nearest police station or the Crime Stoppers hotline at 707. In today's relentlessly accelerating world, the concept of hustle culture frequently champions constant activity and minimal rest, inadvertently casting sleep as a secondary concern and indulgence rather than a foundational element of well-being. This pervasive societal attitude, however, deeply contradicts the biological imperatives of the human body. A recent illuminating discussion on WINN's Island Tea broadcast on August 19, 2025 featured Dr. Natalie Osborne, a general surgeon in St. Kitts and Nevis, on Weekly Dose, who meticulously dismantled this misconception, providing an extensive and critical analysis of sleep's profound yet often overlooked importance. Dr. Osborne incisively pinpointed a pervasive cultural misjudgment.
Think society and in that world of going after it, go and get it, and the hustle, people have made it seem shameful also to sleep. Oh, if you're sleeping, it means that you're not getting it, you're not doing enough.
This pervasive narrative, she further elaborated, often prompts individuals to openly declare their minimal sleep habits, utterly unaware of the severe and cascading adverse effects that sleep deprivation inflicts upon their comprehensive physical, mental, and emotional health. Understanding the precise amount of sleep required, appreciating the multifaceted benefits of sufficient rest, recognizing the dire consequences of sleep deprivation, and implementing effective strategies to secure adequate sleep are all pivotal steps in reprioritizing this essential non-negotiable aspect of daily human existence. Dr. Osborne meticulously elaborated on the intricate and indispensable restorative functions of sleep.
So, sleep is a natural, reversible state of rest. So the body and the brain slows down all of its function. What it does when it do that, it allows for restoration, repair, and processing of information. So this is a biological process that the brain, and we've heard about the circadian rhythm, so it's regulated by the circadian rhythm. So that's a natural clock in us that tells us we need to sleep, wake, and it is oftentimes, if we stay too long awake, we know that we've got to get some sleep because the body is out of its normal process.
She emphatically underscored that during the various stages of sleep, the body dynamically engages in crucial activities such as repairing cellular tissues, meticulously building and fortifying muscle mass, and robustly strengthening the immune system. Specifically, during the profound deep sleep phases, the body undergoes a significant release of growth hormones, which are absolutely essential for cellular regeneration and overall physical growth. This biological imperative, Dr. Osborne noted, is precisely why medical professionals frequently advise athletes and individuals recovering from injuries to rigorously prioritize sleep, acknowledging its status as a paramount component of their recovery and rehabilitation processes. Cognitively, sleep assumes an equally pivotal role in the consolidation of memories, the assimilation of new learning, and the efficacy of problem-solving abilities. During these nocturnal periods of rest, the brain actively processes the voluminous information accumulated throughout the waking day, systematically organizes memories, and profoundly strengthens neural connections. This intricate neurological orchestration is undeniably crucial for the effective retention of newly acquired information and for consistently achieving high performance in tasks that demand intense focus, critical thinking, and complex cognitive processing. Dr. Osborne vividly illustrated this brain function.
So while you sleep, your brain is reorganizing and categorizing, putting in different categories your memories and, packing the shelves. They say it's almost like sorting books in a library. So your brain is doing that while you're resting.
Emotionally, sufficient sleep is intrinsically linked to enhanced mood regulation and a heightened resilience to daily stressors. Well-rested individuals are demonstratively better equipped to navigate the complexities and challenges of daily life, maintain healthier and more positive interpersonal relationships, and experience a marked reduction in disruptive mood swings. Conversely, consistent poor sleep quality can precipitously lead to heightened irritability, increased levels of anxiety, and an alarmingly elevated risk of developing clinical depression. The ramification of sleep deprivation, whether it manifests as an acute short-term deficit or a chronic long-term condition, are demonstrably extensive and profoundly detrimental to overall health. Dr. Osborne detailed how even short-term lack of sleep severely impairs cognitive function, manifesting as significant difficulties with concentration, compromised decision-making capabilities, and noticeably slower reaction times.
Poor sleep habits can lead to psychiatric conditions. It is linked to psychiatric condition. Persons become depressed, persons become anxious, persons can even have psychosis, where you're having hallucination, paranoia, and disorder in your thinking. So if you do not have enough sleep, you have different activities or different changes going on at a level of the cells in the brain, and that creates certain anxiety, that creates depression, and you're not functioning as you should in your workplace. And it can affect your stress levels. You can see sometimes you start snapping more at the children, snapping more at your co-workers because you didn't get enough sleep, you're at your best.
Delving into the more severe long-term consequences, Dr. Osborne highlighted that chronic sleep deprivation is strongly correlated with a host of severe health issues.
It can lead to long-term anxiety and depression. It can lead to substance abuse in persons who try to self-medicate to counteract some of these symptoms that they're feeling. And it can lead to dementia. They speak about dementia, all the factors that can lead to dementia as we get older because you do not have enough sleep. And dementia is simply that your cognitive or your mental concentration and capacity decreases. And most of us would have seen persons as they get older, they have some form of dementia.
Furthermore, persistent sleep deprivation critically weakens the immune system, rendering the body significantly more susceptible to a wide array of infections and delaying recovery times. Beyond physical ailments, chronic sleep loss is intricately linked to an exacerbation of mental health disorders, including heightened anxiety and clinical depression, as well as accelerated rate of cognitive decline and an elevated risk of developing neurodegenerative diseases, most notably Alzheimer's disease. Dr. Osborne passionately advised against perceiving sleep as a non-essential luxury, unequivocally emphasizing the critical imperative to prioritize it for achieving and maintaining optimal health, sustained performance across all life domains, and long-term well-being.
The importance of sleep is real, and it affects us even in every performance that we do.
The sentiment underscores sleep's non-negotiable status in the pursuit of a healthy and productive life. In regional news, CXC to launch Caribbean Targeted Education Certificate CTEC, Grenada Broadcasting Network reports.
The Caribbean Examinations Council CXC has unveiled plans for a brand new qualification, the Caribbean Targeted Education Certificate CTEC, aimed at transforming the way students are assessed and certified in the region. The details were provided by Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Dr. WINN Wesley during the official release of CXC's 2025 examination results. The CTEC program is set to begin as a pilot in September 2025, with the first batch of certifications to be issued in 2026. Unlike traditional examinations, the CTEC is structured to place the learner at the center of the process, taking into account their individual interests, abilities, and pace of learning.
So we have reimagined our philosophy, and we have taken that philosophy, and we have now created what we call the Caribbean targeted education certificate. And what that will do is bring a lot more flexibility in catering to the individuals within the school system, taking the current CSEC standards syllabus and breaking that down into modules, related and relevant learning outcomes that students can take in steps and progression towards achieving their certification.
Dr. Wesley explained that the new qualification will be administered at the same standard as CSEC and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination CAPE. He stressed that CTEC is not intended to lower the bar for students, but instead to provide an alternative pathway to success, especially for those whose skills and talents may not align with traditional subject-based examinations.
And so students can now mix and match. Schools can now provide opportunities for students to select what aspect of a program that they would want to pursue, all at the same standard. We are not watering down the standards. The standards are the same. But what we are doing is recognizing preferences, recognizing learning pace, recognizing the amount of content one can absorb at any one time, and creating a system that will be flexible enough for every student, regardless of their preference, regardless of the pace at which they learn, regardless of the amount of content they can absorb at any one time, can still achieve their full potential.
Dr. Wesley added that the students will be afforded significant flexibility to assist them in achieving and demonstrating the level of competency acquired. The Council says this move reflects a wider commitment to innovation in regional education and a shift towards certification that better prepares Caribbean students for the evolving demands of the global workforce. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Women and supporters protest MP's controversial remarks outside St. Lucia's Parliament. DBS St. Lucia has the details.
Following a government minister's controversial remarks on his weekly talk show, the United Workers' Party staged a women's protest outside Parliament on Tuesday. The demonstration targeted comments made by Castries Central MP Richard Frederick about a member of the press, which included exposing her medical condition and inappropriate sexual comments directed at a UWP candidate.
I have a candidate, a female candidate, right, in which he said that he's prepared to sleep with her. Is that right? Okay? Sorry.
One of Richard Frederick's allegations against Lisa Joseph is that you paid for chemo. Is there any accuracy to this?
Zero. I didn't even know Lisa had cancer. So, I discovered, like many other St. Lucians, when he brought it out. And the hypocrisy of it is that Richard has had a history of cancer in his own family, of which 2 family members have died of cancer.
UWP candidate Marcella Johnson was the politician who came under fire from Frederick. She says female party supporters were not the only ones who came out to support, but men, along with others with no political affiliation, also showed up. She's calling on civil society to speak up on the matter.
Because I grew up with 6 brothers, and my brothers did not treat me in that way. Men know how to respect women. I have a husband, he doesn't treat me that way. So how could a member of parliament holding the highest office in the land denigrate women in such a way? And I could name a list of women he has done that to. You have Lisa Joseph, who's in the media like yourselves, a civilian. You have Barbara Jacob-Small, you have Soraya Alexander, and the list goes on. This has to stop in our country.
Laura Japierre, the UWP's library candidate, says she has been speaking up about abuse against women, discussing topics such as rape for years, including on her former talk show.
And you know what a St. Lucia Labour Party supporter called and said on live, and it's there you can call DBS and get it. She asked me why am I so hell-bent on speaking about rape? Is it because I have been raped myself? Let that sink in. Let that sink in. I am still the same Laura Japierre I was yesterday. I am the same Laura Japierre that is here today. I'm that same Laura Japierre who will be there tomorrow, standing for women and girls.
Protesters made attempts to speak with government ministers on their way into the House of Parliament. One such interaction was caught on a social media live video with Minister Frederick. For the DBS News World, Miriam Montoot reporting.
We now bring you these international reports.
Fire and flames after the passenger bus collided with a fuel truck and a motorcycle near Herat in northwestern Afghanistan. Daylight reveals the extent of the accident.
Everyone was badly burned. We couldn't recognize anyone. We could only guess by looking at their height, guessing who was a man, who was a child, and who was a woman.
A relative of one of the victims blamed the government for not doing enough to keep the country's roads safe. A similar crash happened last month.
Our question to the government is, are these transport companies here to kill everyone in Afghanistan? This is not the first incident in Afghanistan. So many like this have happened before, at a time when we have internet, television, and all technologies.
The bus was carrying Afghans who were recently deported from Iran. And more buses are due to arrive here, as Tehran puts pressure on the estimated 3 million Afghans living there to leave. That pressure increased during the recent conflict between Iran and Israel.
Since the war between Israel and Iran began, arrests and oppression against the Afghan people increased. They would accuse us of being spies. Even our neighbours would report us. There are Afghans here, get them out. They treated Afghans very badly. I was arrested at work. My family is still in Iran. I've been here for 2 days now, but my wife and 2 children are still there. I'm waiting here for them to arrive so we can go together to Kabul.
August 15th marked 4 years since the departure of U.S. troops from Afghanistan, who for 2 decades fought a war against the Taliban that displaced millions of Afghans. Some of those Iran is deporting fled that fighting. Afghanistan is now trying to rebuild itself after years of war. Making its roads safer will have to be a priority to avoid accidents like this. Wilson Dysard, Al Jazeera.
The Israeli government's approved the construction of 3,400 illegal settler housing units in a move that would effectively cut off occupied East Jerusalem from the occupied West Bank. The illegal settlement, known as E1, would seriously undermine attempts to create a two-state solution. The only internationally recognized boundary between Israel and Palestine is known as the Green Line. But in 1967, Israel occupied the West Bank. Since then, it's annexed East Jerusalem and it's built illegal settlements in and around there. In 2002, Israel started building a separation wall around them, cutting them off from the rest of the occupied West Bank. You can see the separation wall here in red. This is known as the E1 plan. It aims to create, as we said, more than 3,000 illegal Israeli settlement units. Once implemented, the plan would connect the illegal Israeli settlements with Israeli-annexed East Jerusalem, cutting deeper into the occupied West Bank. Mustafa Barghouti is the Secretary-General of the Palestinian National Initiative. He's joining us from Ramallah. The map that we were showing our viewers there is fairly self-explanatory, but I wonder if you could just describe to us what the impact would be for the future of a unified Palestinian state.
For many years, the fascist Israeli settlers wanted this plan to be implemented, and the pressure on Israel prevented it from happening. Now they are proceeding with it by the plan of the fascist minister Smotrich, and his plan now was approved by the Israeli government. This is a death sentence to the idea and the possibility of a Palestinian independent state, because this plan will completely separate the West Bank in 2 pieces, shatter them into 2 pieces that are totally not connected, without any contiguity, and it will also, as you said, isolate Jerusalem completely from the rest of the occupied Palestinian West Bank. But more than that, thousands and thousands of Palestinians will be displaced, and many, many communities in the vicinity of Jerusalem area will be destroyed. This is another act of ethnic cleansing that Israel is planning to do. But the most important thing is that this is a plan to kill the possibility and the idea of a two-state solution or of a Palestinian independent state.
You mentioned that this plan had been around for a long time and it was postponed predominantly because of external pressure. I understand a lot of that pressure, of course, in the past came from the US, but also from the EU and member countries within that. What happened to that pressure? What's changed?
The United States changed. They are supporting settlement activities. They never protest against settlement activities. The ambassador of the United States, Mr. Huckabee, said clearly that he said horrible things like there are no Palestinian people. I mean, that Palestinian people don't exist. And he claimed that West Bank is a Jewish land and settlements should not be called settlements. So clearly, Israel would not have proceeded with this terrible plan, which destroys any potential for peace or compromise, without the American support. And we haven't heard any word from President Trump that he's objecting to Judaization of the West Bank or annexation of the illegal annexation of the West Bank territory. Now this will continue unless the world community starts immediately, and especially European countries, start immediately imposing sanctions on Israel. Without real, powerful sanctions on Israel, without military embargo on Israel, Israel will not stop and will continue this process of destruction of the lives of people in Gaza, as you have described, and the lives of the people in the West Bank as well, destroying any potential for peace in this region.
Over the last several months, we've been reporting on the increase, a significant increase on attacks on Palestinians by Israeli settlers. How have Palestinians been preparing for this move? Because this plan, as we've been talking about, has been around for a long time. It was initially given approval by Bezalel Smotrich a week ago.
Well, as you know, Palestinians have no army to stand up to the Israeli army. Palestinians are practically disarmed. And of course, there is a lot of political and popular resistance to this plan. We have had hundreds of demonstrations before against these plans. But in reality, the matter now is in the hands of the international community. And if there is something that the Palestinian Authority should do is to unite Palestinians as soon as possible. What we need now is a truly unified Palestinian leadership with a clear strategy to stand up to these acts of settlements and the fascist expansion of settlements that is going on in the West Bank, and to protect Palestinian people. As you said, during the last 2 years, settlers' terror has expanded dramatically. During the last year, thousands of settler terrorist attacks happened against different Palestinian communities. No less than 11 Palestinians were killed this year by Israeli terrorists. But also, the army is participating in these attacks. And we had 1,000 Palestinians in the West Bank killed already by the Israeli settlers and the Israeli army. So what we need here is, of course, unity of Palestinians, but also we need a strong international pressure on Israel in the forms of sanctions, not statements. Statements mean nothing. Condemnations mean nothing to the Israeli government. Only sanctions will force them to change their course.
Rwanda-backed M23 rebels killed at least 140 people in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo in July. That's according to a Human Rights Watch report released on Wednesday that highlights how violence remains elevated despite the US and Qatar-backed peace talks underway. While Reuters could not independently verify the report, the advocacy group provided new details about the killing spree first reported by Reuters in July. It said total killings in Rutshuru territory in July may exceed 300, echoing similar findings by the United Nations last month. HRW said witness accounts indicated the attacks took place in at least 14 villages and farming areas near Virunga National Park in eastern Congo in July. Citing 15 witness accounts, medical staff, UN personnel, and other sources, HRW said most victims were ethnic Hutu, with some ethnic Nandi. The killings occurred weeks after a June 27th US-brokered preliminary deal between Congo and Rwanda, and peace negotiations in Qatar between Congo and M23 rebels. M23 has previously denied any role in the killings and did not respond to a request for comment on the report.
Now, while many people struggle without access to traditional banking, a surprising financial experiment is underway halfway around the world. In one of Africa's largest urban slums, Kibera, some roadside vegetable stands are accepting an unconventional form of payment, Bitcoin. Residents in Kibera, located in Kenya's capital, are using Bitcoin as part of a project aimed at bringing financial services to one of the nation's most impoverished and underbanked communities. From Nairobi, here's Michael Kaloki.
Early morning in Nairobi's Kibera informal settlement. A team of young men and women who are part of a waste collection group go door to door collecting garbage from the area residents. The group charges a waste collection fee for their services. Some of the residents pay the fee using the cryptocurrency Bitcoin.
I prefer to pay my garbage collection using Bitcoin because its transaction cost is really low. It's something like 0.0 something percent. I've been using it for a while now and it's really convenient.
Ronnie Mdawida and his team regularly undertake what they refer to as community meetups, where residents in the area are taken through learning sessions to understand more about Bitcoin. For example, how to purchase Bitcoins using Kenya shillings. Among those who take part in these meetups are local traders from the area, a group that Ronnie says was key in encouraging the use of Bitcoin in Kibera.
For merchants to exist, we first of all needed to have people who are earning in Bitcoin, but now also, we also needed people who are willing to accept Bitcoin as a means of payment for it to happen.
One of those who attends the community learning sessions is Ruth Kwamboka, a local merchant in the area. Ruth now also accepts Bitcoin as a form of payment from her customers.
I own a general shop where I sell maize flour, wheat flour, bananas, oranges, and vegetables in particular. As a merchant, I have accepted this Bitcoin, and many people in my area, Kibera, also use this Bitcoin as a mode of payment, and they are able to pay for any commodity they need.
Here in the heart of Kibera, a growing number of residents are turning to cryptocurrency as a tool for economic empowerment and as an alternative to traditional financial systems that many here feel are out of reach. However, there are those who feel that caution needs to be exercised when promoting the use of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin in a community.
The challenges around volatility exist because then Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are very exposed to a lot of, external shocks for markets, and therefore there's a lot of volatility for most of these cryptos at the moment, and therefore that is a huge challenge for the people who live in informal settlements. But then again, it offers an opportunity for alternative finance and for people to be able to participate in global markets.
Ronnie Mdawida and his team at AfriBit remain optimistic that their initiative will enhance the lives of the people in Kibera slum. But is Bitcoin a viable solution to financial inclusion for the residents of this informal settlement? Perhaps only time will tell. Michael Kaloki, BBC News, Nairobi.
You were listening to the WINN FM 98.9 newscast. Our top stories were:
Lux Carnival unveils costumes inspired by the blossoms of varying nations. Seniors complete 6-week chronic disease self-management program.
Police seize narcotics and illegal firearms in Lower Monkey Hill, St. Kitts. Sleep, the unsung hero of health in a hustle culture. CXC to launch Caribbean Targeted Education Certificate, CTEC. Women and supporters protest MP's controversial remarks outside St. Lucia's Parliament. Internationally, 79 people die in Herat bus crash involving Afghans deported from Iran. Thank you for listening.